Okay, meanwhile, while I'm doing this, we're just giving it 30 seconds or so for people to come on. I want to hear from you guys, especially want to hear what you have done differently. And that could include what you've experienced different. You know, did you wake up feeling different? Do you have your emotions somewhat different? Have you taken a different action, had a different kind of conversation with yourself and someone else or someone else? Hi, Cheryl. This is a coaching question. I am a coach and mentor, so I have to ask these questions. And I want to tell you guys, I'll keep telling you, of course, this is an informational presentation. Today is going to be also very experiential because Haya is a healer and she's one of the healers that I cherish in my own life, meaning I trust her that much. And so that's for this call, but in general, where do we wire in new miraculous possibilities is when we take these things into ourselves and let them change our actions, let them change our perception, and then what we allow, the thoughts that we hold in our mind and the actions that we take. So anytime you can take an action that's beyond your comfort zone, even if it's tiny, and this comes directly from the Rebbe. If you want the source, I'll let you know. And the tiniest action that is beyond your natural way of being is going to open you up to something that is beyond your natural circumstances that you're having in your life. This world is co-creative and it's revealed and available now more than ever before. So Esther from Toronto, I've begun addressing issues I'd not acted on quickly enough. Great, awesome, thank you for sharing that. Patricia says, I'm feeling stronger in my faith and my ability to be closer to God. Wonderful. Hi from Utah. Anybody else? Claim your successes. Don't say, oh, it's nothing. It's not nothing. It's opening a new portal. I've been so emotional during the summit, and I'm so grateful to Hashem that he's pulling me back in touch with the side of me that I turned away from because at that time it wasn't pure. So reintegration, Haya's work is all about that. Okay, Brigitte from Brazil says hi. So, you don't have to wait for me to keep asking the question. I really, really want to hear from you online. And even if you want, email me offline. What is shifting? The tiniest new actions, the tiniest shift in feeling and perspective. We're not done yet. I mean, we are never done until it's done, but we're not even done with this intense immersion. Just about halfway. And maybe we'll add more. We'll see. Okay. All right. With that, I am excited to introduce to you a dear friend, one of my, as I said a few moments ago, most trusted healers. I do work with healers when I need extra help, and Haya is right up there in my extremely short list, and there's a reason for that. She has been a lifelong trailblazer of conscious evolution. That's what we're all about here, conscious evolution. And for decades has been supporting individuals and groups worldwide to achieve profound growth, sparkling wellness, healthy relationships, and the ability to contribute in bigger ways. I mean, I'm going to just cut in right here and say that Haya helps you get in touch with your body, and through being in touch with your body, in touch with your soul, and opening the flow of the soul for the body. When the soul is flowing in the body, everything shifts. Not just your health, definitely your health. We'll talk about some of the health shifts that Haya's work has facilitated, but everything. She graduated with honors from Columbia U and completed her MA in NYU in environmental education. She's a lifelong learner. You can see that if you go look at her whole bio, click on her picture and read that bio. She chose to dedicate her life to exploring the inner human environment. So that's where the ecology comes in, I guess. I'm not really even sure. Ecology is the study of systems and how everything affects each other. If is that how you could put it? If you wanted to, in a nutshell.
Definitely, and on a personal and cosmic scale. Yeah, definitely.
So interesting. So anyway, for the last several decades, I met Haya personally in, I guess, 2011. We met online a year. Did we meet online before that? A year before? We met online a little bit before that, but that's why I only see the last decade plus of her life and her progress and the deepening of her work. But for the last several decades, she's been developing, facilitating, and teaching prayer-based body, mind, conscious transformation. to align with this new incoming era of redemption. Human being 2.0, human being 10.0, who could describe it? We're going back to Eden, but as conscious creators, not as passive recipients. It's going to be Eden 2.0. Yeah, so we're players in the mat. Sorry, what, Haya?
Absolutely, right. And in conscious connection with our creator, that's the most important aspect of all of this.
Yeah. Hold that thought. Just so
Okay.
You're jogging my mind to talk about something really important. So her work draws upon principles of somatic work. Haya said to me recently, if I can remember it correctly, when consciousness meets the body, what did you say? Or how could you say it? Transformation begins to happen. I think you said it stronger than that. But Haya,
that's close enough. That's great.
Okay, so Haya considers the body, and I think she's 100% correct, that the body is like the seat of transformation. I mean, Torah says that the physical world is the seat of transformation. You can't transform angels anywhere else. Angels can't transform, souls disembodied can't transform. It is the body that allows for transformation and revelation of new levels of self, soul, and ultimately God. And that's what this world is about. So that's what her work is about. And obviously it combines many modalities, but illuminates them all and encompasses them all with the divine mystical wisdom of the Torah. So let's go straight from that. Welcoming Haya. Thank you for being here with us, Haya. I'm really excited to see what comes out today.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here because these are the principles and ideas that get me up in the morning. They're what I live and I breathe all day long. And I want to share that with as many people as possible. That's my life mission, just to help other people become close to themselves, close to their infinite, undefinable creator who dwells within them and is their most cherished confidant, with whom they are cooperating and partnering to bring a better world. And all of that starts from within. And I believe, as you said, that the body is a divine instrument for transformation, but we haven't yet discovered the degree of that. We're just at the tipping point of beginning to understand why we were sent here in bodies on a physical planet, revolving around a physical sun within an enormous galaxy, within possibly a universe or a multiverse of millions and billions of other galaxies. Why? Why are we sent to this space-time frame? And my personal discovery has been that through physicality, we can transform the entire cosmos and I'm talking about other worlds that are beyond the physical, all other worlds. And that's what we're here to do. And that's why we were sent here. And
that's not, by the way, I have to say, that's not just your belief. That is the belief of Hasidus. That's the Torah belief. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it was yesterday's Tanya. Am I correct? Correct.
I don't know. Tell me what you're going to say.
I believe it was yesterday's Tanya. I may be wrong, about the body being from the breath, from the inner breath of our Creator.
The soul is from the inner breath, but the body's from the essence of the Creator.
The essence, right. The soul's from the inner breath and the body's from the essence. So that's even deeper than the inner breath. And I think of that, Tanya, all the time. And that's where I started to notice that this is indeed a fact. And that's how I work with myself, with my clients, with everyone I want to help. And sometimes even with birds and cats and fish, whatever seems to need some help. I always
lucky birds,
see that. We had a fish that it got sick, but it really kept living because I kept reconnecting that fish to its essence. And
I actually did that with a fish that I had once too.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yes. My fish's name was Sove. It lived for
Oh,
3 years. It almost died. And then my daughter started crying so hard. I had to sit down and do a healing session on it. And it popped right up and lived for another year.
there you go. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. I bet a bunch of people in the audience have done this with their fish as well.
Yes.
Fish are great practice.
If anybody's done this with your fish, let us know. Yes.
Very common, getting more common as we get deeper into Geula, where we can really help ourselves and others come closer to each other, to ourselves, and to our Creator within, in order to start breathing in that Geula space. Start living in that Geula space, and know what to do when we find ourselves in diaspora, in galus, as we say in Yiddish or Hebrew.
Exile, yeah.
Exile. When we find ourselves, yeah, when we find ourselves in exile, and this can happen several hundred times a day, even to me, especially before being invited onto a big Zoom call with a whole bunch of wonderful people. So I can be in exile also. And so what I did for myself is something that Kayla was talking about yesterday, tapping. And when I tap, I breathe. And I breathe with our Creator.
So you just tap like this?
Yeah. And I breathe with our Creator, but I don't breathe anything but spontaneously. I don't try to control my breath. I don't try to monitor it. I just notice it without interfering.
What's happening here? What are we doing?
We are taking care of any anxiety that's presenting in the moment. I certainly need to do that. I don't know about the rest of you.
And why does tapping like this isn't typical EFT tapping. This is a different kind of tapping. It just moves the energy. What does it do?
Yes, but it's similar to EFT. EFT can also be done any kind of tapping on the body, but this is one that I love, the butterfly hug.
I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, it's a very popular one. And I use it especially for anxiety. But the main ingredient in the work I do after I get rid of my anxiety, but you can keep doing this as much as you want, after I get rid of my initial anxiety, is I notice what's happening in my body. And I notice this from a spacious place. And that's why I want to get rid of my anxiety first. Because once I can notice what's happening in my body from a place of inner space, I can allow the automatic healing that happens to occur.
Say more about that. What do you mean by automatic healing? I want to make sure that we put on the table the core principles that you bring to your work.
We're moving from a body perspective into a soul body perspective. And what that means.
That brought up a lot of emotion. We're moving from a body perspective to a soul body perspective. I'm sorry to keep cutting you off. I'm not really, I mean, I sort of am, but also I want to say, people are feeling your energy. That's something that happens when Haya talks. She's going right into the healing space, and you can lean into it or relax into it and let things shift, because you might get some kind of spontaneous, emotional, physical, who knows. So healing is happening. I just needed to say that, Haya, sorry.
It is, because what I'm doing as I connect to all of you is I'm connecting me, you, each and every one of us to that ebb and flow of divine pulse, divine breath, divine presence within us. That's happening right now. As we speak about the new language of, instead of just body perspective, it's soul body perspective. And how does that influence us? Well, this is something you teach all the time, Shifra. you teach a makif, help me out with the English.
Transcendent.
A transcendence of our Creator, and you also teach of the immanence of our Creator in your Torah teaching, and that's so central to Chassidus. It's so central to the Torah of Geula, because what we're doing is we are connecting the transcendent with the immanent, and we're doing that through the transcendent and the immanent of our own being. So what is our immanent? Our immanent is our body. What is our transcendent? It's usually our mind, our spirit. But what we discover through this work is that the transcendent is found within. And that's the shift. That's the new place of Geula.
So when we release, when we use our body to connect in that way, our body, soul, mind, God, creating the space, we're simply opening to the natural flow of this higher level of soul, the Makif level. Just to make sure it's clear, Makif, the Makif level of God, the Makif level of the soul. Makif means surrounding or encompassing, transcendent. But to put it in simple words, Makif is that which is so super powerful, so sublime, so omnipotent that it cannot be contained within the conscious or physical vessels of the universe, except that what's happening is that those vessels are opening and expanding now. And this is really what the redemption is ultimately about, to bring in the flow of that Makif energy. And guess what? It's above the laws of nature. It's direct, intimate connection with the Creator in the instant, so that you can become completely miraculous. This is the core of this process that's happening now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And now you hear why I wanted to be with Shifra and learn from her for so many years, is because Shifra, you speak the language of Geula, and you speak it in a way that everyone can understand. So thank you so much for that explanation. Yeah. Just being with our bodies just the way we are, without changing a thing, brings about transformation. Because where the rubber meets the road is where our spirit, our consciousness, meets our matter. And our matter, because it comes from the essence of God, knows how to return to God consciousness. All we have to do.
Oh, sorry. Finish your thought. I think you have to.
All we have to do is observe it happening. Our matter, our bodies know how, because they are from the essence of God, according to Danya. They know how to return to our Creator consciously, even faster than our spirit can. All we need is our conscious contribution to allow that to happen.
So you're saying
this is a discovery that I'm making in the last decade.
That the body, because it's from essence, that's why it has the power. I hadn't heard that piece from you before. That the body, because it's from essence, has the power to change the nature of matter, simply by bringing consciousness, which brings what? The flow of spirit? Like, how would you describe that diagrammatically?
When we bring consciousness, our consciousness, to our body consciousness, and they meet, that's where the magic happens.
And so without having to change
anything, where creation happens. That is where creation happens on our co-creative level as human beings. That's why we're sent here. That's why we were sent to this planet, because where our consciousness meets planet Earth is where divine healing, divine transformation, divine return to Eden 2, as you said, Shifra, Eden 2 starts emerging. And that's what happens in our bodies when we apply the same profound, conscious, evolutionary intent, things start shifting. The more we do it, the more often, the more the shift, the more profound.
So at this point, I want to ask you to share some of the kinds of shifts that you've facilitated with Hashem, obviously for yourself and for people that you've worked with. If we can just hold 1 second on that, though, people are asking for explanations here. So by primordial man, Gila, you mean Adam Kadmon, 100%. Makif, yes, definitely Makif. Yeah, creation starts with Bria. It's like not even the highest of the 4 created worlds. Adam Kadmon is the blueprint for all of that and like above creation in a sense. Sometimes it's considered, I don't want to get lost here. This is what I teach in the classes based on Chabad Hasidus from the text. But it's above all of this. You could think of us as being inside of a snow globe. I like to think of it that way sometimes. It has 4 basic levels. One of them is entirely spiritual, receiving from God. That's not really that's above. That's like right above the snow globe. But then in the snow globe, we have these 3 levels where angels live and souls come from, and they're higher dimensions of consciousness. So that quickly, and I don't want to take too much time because Haya is going to be leading us through many dimensions of healing here. Essence basically is that which cannot be defined. Essence is where everything comes from. So it's always hidden and an ever unlimited source of whatever is going to come out of it. So we have an essence within us, which is a piece of God's essence. Literally, the Tanya says that too. So the essence of God is beyond any manifestation, beyond anything that can be revealed. Essence and revelation in that sense are opposites, but the essence is generating from everything that comes out is coming out from this unlimited essence. And the closer we get, the deeper we go into that Makif level, the more we have access to that essence. It's like the barriers go away. We're created with all these blocks and barriers that we have to the secret of breaking through, like a cosmic, somebody objected when I said game, and it's definitely serious sometimes, very serious, but it's very serious to God because this is the world that he's creating. But still, it's helpful to see it as a game because it has stages and it has goals and it has, when you find out the secrets, you break through. This is one of the major secrets, this kind of healing. Okay, yes. Go ahead, Haya. The results. What kind of things have you seen? And also, I want you to also share what you saw, let's say, 5 years ago, as opposed to what you're seeing now. This is what's happening.
The results have not changed. What has changed is my understanding of the results. I didn't have explanations for what I've been seeing for the past 30 years.
Oh, okay.
I've developed those slowly in dialogue with Hashem. I've been asking, please enlighten me. Please help me understand this more deeply so I can explain it to others and help them influence their own lives and the lives of people around them by blessing themselves with this relationship with their creator within. And this conscious evolutionary attitude towards everything within us and around us. So the more I have an understanding of what's happening, the more I can explain that. And that's where it's helpful. What I've seen is, well, if you look at my testimonials page on my website, hayabaker.com or Heart Homecoming, it's easier to remember hayabaker.com, Haya with an H. You'll see that there's so many different kinds of results that people get when they do this kind of work. I'll give you one example that's fresh in my mind. A woman who had a friend of mine, actually, who had a dear friend, who had a very bad problem with her vision. Her macula was bleeding. And the doctors saw what may have been a problem with her retina. And they said that the problem is such that they have no solution. They have no explanation or any solution. And she's likely not to recover her vision in that eye. And they've nothing they can offer. The doctor actually told her, go home and pray. And you can find this on the on my testimonials page. So of course, she went home to pray. She's a woman who prays. She prays all day for everyone, and she's a big balat chesed. She's a woman of great kindness. So of course she prayed, and she also called me, and I worked with her, and I taught her a few principles, and I left her with the following message. I said, make sure that you look at yourself in a way that is healing. Love yourself in a way that is healing. And if you catch yourself thinking anything negative about yourself, which we all do, because we all have a side of us that is there to challenge us to become more of whom we are becoming, just notice it as such. And even love that voice inside that was challenging you. Love the part of you that's not quite sure of yourself, because that part needs the most love. And she started implementing these things. And I was supporting her in my way. And she continued in her way. And I love it when my clients learn to do it their way. And lo and behold, I think it was at 5 weeks, I forget what it says on my testimonials page. At 5 weeks, she came back to the doctor, and the bleeding had cleared, and there was no damage to her retina. There was no damage to the macula. There was no scarring. And the doctor couldn't believe it. He said, I've never seen anything like it. He was stunned. So that's one example. And how did that come about? It came about through her consciousness meeting her emotions and her body from a place of love, reconnection, and connection to Hashem, a Hebrew term for God. Her connection to God within her and to herself was healing. And of course, her vision healed along with it. That's a very small example. Another example that I like to share is another dear woman of a great kindness came to me for some emotional coaching. And while we were doing emotional coaching, she had gone for a regular exam. This was like 1 week into our emotional coaching. She had a regular exam, and she was tested and found that she had cancer. And maybe it was more than a week, I forget. At any rate, she found that she had a tumor that needed to be removed along with the organ in which it was. And she had only 3 weeks before her surgery. And she said, let's switch gears. Let's work both emotionally and physically. And of course, that's what we did. And we didn't work once a week like we used to. We started working every single day for the next 3 weeks, right up until surgery. And by the time her day of surgery was approaching, I said to her, that tumor doesn't look the same anymore. What does it seem like to you? It really looked different. It looked full of light. There was no darkness anymore in that tissue. And lo and behold, she had her organ removed, and the doctors checked it. The pathologist could find no trace of cancer, and this was just 3 weeks later.
Should have checked it first.
They should have checked it first, but
unbelievable. Who expects miracles like this? But we need to.
We need to, exactly. And then there's another person who I worked with also with cancer. And we worked with so many different things. And she too, she didn't need any chemotherapy. She didn't need chemotherapy or radiation, nothing. She Baruch Hashem, she healed. Thank God, she healed.
Sorry, go ahead.
What?
You just cured a staph infection in your own leg.
Yeah. And with me, I'm curing stuff I don't do it. You said I was a healer. I want to correct you, Shifra. I'm no healer. I'm just a human being with a lot of curiosity. I am a really curious person. True. But I am doing my best to become a healing facilitator. And I'm doing my best to help others become healing facilitators within their divine birthright. That's what you were born to be. We were all born to be healing facilitators. We were all born to bring about Geula, redemption, and Eden 2.0. that's our birthright. That's our birthright. So yeah, so I do healing. I facilitate healing with Hashem, with God, with our Creator, daily on myself, absolutely daily. And so recently I broke my leg, and it healed within 4 weeks. I didn't need a cast. I was walking on it, running on it within 2 weeks. I had I had a staph infection that I picked up in the clinic when I had my X-ray, because I had a mosquito bite on my leg my leg was against the table when the X-ray was. So I got a staph infection, and it also, thank God, healed. And there's so many things. I had chronic fatigue for most of my life, extreme chronic fatigue. I could not get out of bed for most of my life. My poor children, my 7 children, God bless them, they had a very exhausted mother. Until I started learning how to help my mother of blessed memory, was very sick with Alzheimer's, but that's a whole different story.
Yes, but Haya facilitated a lot of shift there also. I'm sorry. I should stop saying I'm sorry. I'll say it once more. I am sorry to cut in a way, because it does interrupt the flow, but I feel it's so important for people not just to be in the experience, which is really important, but to actually see the reality of this. So Haya helped her mother make many strides forward in Alzheimer's, which is supposed to be incurable. I know she helps people with deep emotions. She's helped people with COVID. The sky is the limit. The sky is not the limit. The sky is inside the snow globe. Beyond the sky is the limit, because of what you set up in the beginning, Haya, because this is reality. We're being given access to the larger structure of reality. For all of history, we were encompassed within this snow globe level. So some people got better results, some people got worse results. Occasionally God would reach down and create a miracle. But now what is available, and so we are the Torah principle, cosmic principle, when something becomes available, we are required to use it, which means curiosity and exploration. But we are being given access to these higher makif levels. How much? Probably as much as we can reach for and integrate. And then we go to the next level. And this is the journey that we're on. We are on a journey of levels of miracles. If people will get this, everything is going to change, not just for you, but for the world. We are facilitators. So Tanya says at the beginning that these souls are channels between heaven and earth. So the channels have been squished and limited, like blocked arteries or whatever, and we're opening them, and what flows in is infinity.
Precisely. And speaking of blocked arteries, we have a problem now, whether it's through COVID, or it's through some of the other things related to COVID, that may have been causing a lot of people to have, unfortunately, blocked blood vessels. And there's another aspect. There's an effort to make us human 2.0s in the image of man.
Like
when we're meant to be human 2.0s in the image of God. So there's an effort, because I think it's out of ignorance. I really do. I think it's ignorance that bonding us with technology. There's a false belief that bonding us with technology can create a higher level human, but it's not likely to be true. And I think it's a mistake. And what we need to do is free ourselves from any bondage to technology. And I mean, even something that's planned into the future. And we have to start planning for that now. We have to start reconnecting ourselves to the programming that is guiding life itself, the divine programming. And that helps us get rid of any technological interference, whether it's energetic, whether it's some other kind of invasive treatment that we may or may not have consented to, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Everybody knows what you mean. The question on the table is, are you saying that it can be effectively cleared here and now?
I
Okay, so
think
go ahead.
it can be, this is the beginning of a better experiment. So I can't say for sure, but my belief is that these are the pathways to reprogramming our system to be aligned with the divine and not with technological reductionism.
So you're saying to change, when we change our frequency, or we tune into a different station in some
Yep.
sense?
Yes, we tune into the station that we were born to, the station that we were created from, the station that keeps us living and breathing and keeps our planet whirling and the plants growing and the sun shining and the rivers flowing. That is the station that we are reconnecting to in this era of redemption. And this is what I'm talking about when I speak about living and breathing with the divine. In this moment, reconnecting to that place within, which is so authentic. And so true that it defies anything that anyone would impose upon us effortlessly. And it unravels any damage that was done by diminishing interventions. So the soul can override body diminishing interventions. And when the soul overrides body diminishing interventions of any sort, energetically or otherwise, we reconnect to who we were meant to be. And things start clearing up. We see this. We see this all around us. And this is the time. I believe that the situation we're in worldwide is because it is time to reconnect. It is time to reconnect to who you are becoming, to the life force, the life love inside of you that is breathing you, exalting you, and helping you love the parts of you that need a little bit more TLC, that need a little bit more hugging, that need a little bit more understanding. And as you do that within your body awareness, notice what happens. Notice your resources. I want each of you to make a short list of 3 or 4 most important resources that are there for you, that help you get up in the morning, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a kind of experience that you enjoy, whether it's something in nature, whether it's music, whether it's your relationship with Hashem, whatever it may be. Write down 4 different things that help you get up in the morning and help you come home to yourself. I just need to take care of something here that's making a lot of noise and I don't want it to disturb us. And I'll be back.
I don't think we hear it, but that's okay.
But it's not bothering me. It's giving me.
Go ahead. Yeah, sure. Do whatever you have to do. So first of all, you guys, if you want everybody to see your comments, make sure you set your Zoom settings to everyone. So there's a question here. They're doing a global thing. Seems all the resources are on their side. Is there a strong enough force to block and reverse that really fast? At any minute, it doesn't happen. There's more and more human suffering, like literally by moment. Yeah. You know how the pressure of birth squeezes the baby forward and out? So we have to change our relationship with all these things that are happening and use them like Aikido, or Tai Chi, to use the force of the opponent in our favor. So we want to use the pressure. When we don't have pressure, often we don't change. Nothing happens. We're in the status quo. There's a very big human wired in resistance to change. So when we allow things to change us, when we allow things to move us, that we are immediately moving into the miracle zone. So it's really dependent on us. And a lot of these questions, long ago, I had a realization that when people look for a diagnosis, and I'm not telling anybody what to do or not do, but they're taking a snapshot of something as if it is solid. Nothing is solid. Everything is fluid. So I decided that instead of looking for like, what is, I'll see if I can shift it. And many things shift that shouldn't be shifting according to the laws of nature. When you start to see the world and yourself and your purpose and your relationship with God and your relationship with your soul in a new way, and then act accordingly. Haya's vibration has really centered me, slowed me down. Isn't this amazing, you guys? How amazing is this so far? I actually want to hear from you. What are you getting from this conversation while she's off screen? Very amazing. Love her vibe. Amazing. Yeah. Are you seeing a new possibility? What are you seeing as a possible new possibility? Sitting in a different reality. By the way, Colleen, I read your comment and the answer is yes. Wherever the soul isn't flowing, that's the place for disease, directly from the Tanya. Yeah. Okay, just came in on This Is Revolutionary. Oh, also, like I keep interrupting her because I want to make sure things get moved, but I want to do that less now because she's got so much to offer. Unbelievable. So I want to just say, okay, before you start again, Haya, I just want to say, go, if you are appreciating this, who doesn't need healing? Emotional, physical, relationship. Haya works with relationships, mental.
With couples too.
Okay, so if you feel that if there's anybody in your life that you have not yet invited to the summit that you think would benefit from this particular call, please stop what you're doing, send a quick email or a text, and I will type in the chat the sign up link so you have it right here. This should be shared with millions of people, not thousands of people.
Your work, Shifra, definitely should be shared with millions of people. It's so important. This is what we need. This is the answer to the ills of our world. The work you're doing, Shifra, and it always has been. So I'm so glad that you're here with us now, and you will be, and continue your work upward and onward.
Amen. Thank you. I mean, I'm doing my piece, and Haya's doing her piece, and what we want, and every speaker is doing their piece. The people that I invited to present in this summit are innovators, and there are lots more innovators that are helping facilitate the vast healing of humanity by moving us toward and into and moving into us and bringing forth from us our divine future, our divine self. Our divine future is right here. It's just another level of ourselves. Just like in the world, the divine future is right in the world. It's another level. That's why the Rebbe said, open your eyes and see Mashiach and Geula, see the redemption. And it's not only your physical eyes to see signs of prophecy. That's what this summit is partly about, but it's also to open up the inner eyes. And that's the other thing this summit is about, the eyes of the soul that now comes into our consciousness, that now opens that snow globe and allows for a flow of new levels of reality. Every single person here can be, and therefore on a spiritual level, on a divine level, you're born so that you will be a contributing co-creative piece of this, an innovator in your own world. And you can do that by learning healing and practicing it in yourself. What we call healing. What is healing really? According to Hasidus, according to mystical Torah, healing is just a full embodiment. When the soul is fully flowing in the body, there cannot be illness and there cannot be death.
Precisely. So
yeah, and when likewise, just to finish the thought, likewise, when God is fully revealed in the world, there cannot be any war, any suffering. It's like all these prophecies, we look at them as disconnected from reality, a future event that we have to wait for, pray for, hope for, give up on. It's not like that. It's here already. We need to be the channels to bring it in. It's here as a deeper dimension. And that's what everything is here for. The entire body of the mystical Torah is here for that. It's called the redemptive Torah, Torah Toshel Mashiach, to facilitate that inner awareness and inner new vessels and inner flow of that higher Makib level. I'm done. Go ahead, Haya.
Well, that's exactly why I love your teaching, Shifra Chana. It's because you teach us the Torah that's the backbone of everything we're discovering. What we are opening up now, like unpeeling an onion, you have been teaching us for decades from the sages of the Torah throughout the generations. That's what you have been teaching us. And that is the wisdom that is the backbone of everything we're discovering now about this redemptive era. So thank you so much for enriching us. And
you must very complimentary. I'm teaching Chabad Hasidus, and primarily the Hasidus of the Rebbe and the text Shar Yichud that opens the mind and the tools and techniques and, coaching and facilitating that shift. But every teacher here is teaching the wisdom of the sages. There are many who know so many things that I don't know, but what I do know, I do know. That's my strength. I really know what I know.
And you bring people around you who teach this wisdom from many different angles, and that's what one of the most beautiful things you're doing now on these summits is you're bringing in the Torah perspective from so many angles, because each of us have a different angle, and that's why I want to go back to your resources, your angle, what gets you up in the morning. If you've written down at least 4 things that get you up in the morning, that help you motivate you and help you feel like you belong, choose the one that is most important to you, that you most cherish, that you're most grateful for. What is that one thing that helps you open your eyes in the morning and say thank you to God? What is it that gets you motivated? And you can even write it into the chat if you want.
You write it into the chat.
Yeah.
I'm going to push harder. Write it in the chat, because that helps reveal it. That helps wire it in, and it helps for other people. I'll tell you right now, I thought about the question, what the main thing that gets me up in the morning is my mission. That's the truth.
Wow.
What else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I learn? What else can I do?
Exactly. That's why you're here. That is why you're here. And so every one of you, if you have a mission that you've identified, now that's life. But even if you haven't, it's just around the corner. And I want to help people find that inside of them. So anything that you connect to that gets you up in the morning, helps you open your eyes, that's what I want you to notice right now. Just remember that thing. Think about it. Imagine you are with that experience at this moment. Breathe in a way that you would if you're engaging in that resourceful activity or in that relationship or with that experience. Just know it. How do you feel in your body when you are with that experience, when you're with that resource, when you're engaging in that activity, when you're with that person, that relationship? What does that feel like inside your body? What sensation comes up in your body when you are resourced in this way? How would you describe it? How would you describe your breath in such a situation with that resource? Just notice that. Now you can come back to the here and now with all of that resource within you, allowing it to spread throughout your body. That delicious feeling, that ease of breath, that presence within your body. That's where healing happens. And it happens not only when we are resourced, it happens when we are lacking of resources, when we feel alone, when we may feel unbelonging, when we may have lost ourselves momentarily, as happens several times a day to all human beings, and even animals to a certain degree. We all have to recreate ourselves consciously, along with God, every so often anew. And it's a remembering. It's a remembering of our resources. And it's a paying attention to the part of us that's hurting. The part of us that may have been lost at some point. Part of us that was forgotten in the basement of our life. A part of us that we'd rather not meet. The part of us that needs a hug, that may not even be receptive to that hug. Let's meet that part now if it's coming up for you. If not, just enjoy your resources and stay in that space. Anyone who's feeling a little bit of lost, a little bit of forgotten, a little bit of sadness or fear, just notice that place in you with love, with understanding, and normalize it. Say to yourself, this is actually a normal human experience to feel this way. There's nothing wrong with this. This is normal. Even if it's something a little bit extraordinary, there's something normal about it. Just notice it with love and breathe through the place in your body where you feel that. Identify where in your body do you feel that stress. And let's breathe through that place now with consciousness of love and understanding. Observing from soul into the stress of the body. Breathe through that place as you observe with love. Allow your breath to come spontaneously. Don't constrict it. Don't force it. Just allow it through that place that needs love inside you. Breathe love through that place, through that constriction in your body. Notice what that place needs from you. What is it saying to you? What does it want you to know? Do you notice a subtle change? Did you notice that you may have taken several spontaneous deep breaths during this process? That is a healing breath. It comes on its own. And the more you do this, the more spontaneous healing breaths you will notice. That is the reconnection with the breath of your soul, the breath of the divine breathing through you, healing you, recreating you every moment anew. As you do this several times a day, for a few moments only, that's all that's necessary, you may notice that things are starting to heal. People have healed from back pain, chronic back pain that was debilitating them. They couldn't lift anything. They could hardly walk. They could hardly get in and out of a chair. They couldn't twist out of bed. And then they do this work daily, several times a day. Their back heals completely. They're now gardening, running up and down the stairs, even running. I have a client that recently told me that she was completely saved from 2 knee replacements that the doctors have been telling her for about a decade that she needs, but she kept resisting. But she was in so much pain that she couldn't walk more than a few blocks without excruciating pain and terrible weakness. Her legs would actually buckle from under her. And I worked with her and I taught her some principles for her to work with herself. I also gave her some tips about nutrition for restoring her tissue. And she's keeping up with the work. She's eating in a way that's restoring and reduces all of the inflammation in her body. And she is now hiking. She's taking a course and she's hiking all over Israel, up and down mountains, which she loves to do. She knows every bird and flower and wild plant in Israel. She loves it and she's so grateful. She's in her 60s. She said she's looking forward to aging gracefully and hiking until 120, God willing. So this is what can be done. This is only the beginning. This is only the beginning.
I every time I work with you or hear you, my brain gets startled. It just happened again. And I don't know why this is not fully obvious to me yet, but you're not telling people to do anything at all other than be with where they are. And you're not telling people to be with where they are expecting something to shift or trying to, but the opposite, just letting everything be and paying and attending to it with some maybe love or compassion. Like you said, give yourself part of you that needs a hug. And you're saying that just by, I guess we suppress those parts of ourselves. You're saying just by bringing that into the awareness. I mean, that makes sense from Tanya too, because the connection to the heart of each part of us is what allows the flow. Tanya says explicitly.
Exactly.
And somebody mentioned that it's hard to get yourself to do it. I got into this question with Kaylee yesterday because it's very hard to get ourselves to do something. Many of these things, even if they're very simple, and I still haven't gotten clarity on why that is, other than divine wiring. I guess the resistance holds like condensed light. I don't know if you have insights on that, Haya, please share them.
I was listening.
Sorry, I just want to make finish the sentence. This is one reason to work with someone, one of many reasons to work with someone like Haya, or to be part of a program, or whatever you choose to do, or to work with create a group of your own with Buddy, because there's a gravity. I want to hear what you have to say, very much so. But there's a gravity to our old way of being that will pull us back. Habit is a very huge and real thing. It's our default. Our brain is wired to the way that we've experienced ourselves in the past. We don't have someone else often to help keep us, holding the vision, or to support us and make that space so that we don't have to fight against that gravity, but we can just rely on them. That is a game changer, 100%. I was just telling one of my kids today, this kind of work, I don't think anyone can do alone.
I disagree on that. And my goal,
unless maybe you have years and years of experience already, but you use coaches and you get training and you give yourself support. So it's not really, you can do it on your own. I work with myself every day alone, but I'm saying we all need a higher, I feel like we all need some, whatever it is, learning Torah, having deep conversations with friends, prayer groups, mentorship. I don't go to healers every day for help, but when I get stuck and it seems like a lot for me to shift, I do, and it opens up a new door. And that you cannot deny. I know you're not going to deny that.
I'm not going to deny that. And I also go to people who do the kind of work that I do, or similar work, because everyone takes a different angle on it. As you know, you've introduced so many different angles with all the speakers that you bring to us. Thank you. So I go to people who do a similar angle or their own angle that could help me, or I do my own process with a witness. That also helps me. Is if I just have someone witness my own self process.
Yeah.
With Hashem, with God, with our Creator, because I have a human being witnessing it. That is powerful for me. So that I really recommend is having somebody witness your process and be with you. Even if you're doing it on your own.
That person is witnessing with intention. Since we're talking about the Tanya today, I'm not sure if this comes directly from Tanya, but definitely from the Chabad Chassid's perspective, that when you have, why is it spiritually that getting together with someone makes such a big difference? Because everybody has an animal soul. Somebody just mentioned that we have two different kind of programs running in us. One, it corresponds to the human personality, identity, ego, keep it in place level. And the other one to the divine soul, transformation, revelation, connect with God. Let's shake up this place and open it and make it, and so when the left side, like I like to call it, the personality, ego, is essentially selfish, self-centered. The divine, the right side, actually the left side of the heart, is where the Tanya explains, that's where that level of the soul resides, that soul program. The right side is where the divine soul program resides. And the divine soul program is meant to flood the left side, to transform it till the power of that self-centered personal desire is now aligned with the divine desire. That's what's happening here, technically speaking, Kabbalistically speaking. But
that's right.
But why did I even say this? Now I lost my point. It seemed important. Oh well. I just continue what you were saying and I'll come back. I guess I'll get back to it.
Well, where we were is
about getting help from another person. Sorry, this is just the punchline here is when the left side is essentially helpless. The animal soul, the divine soul is not helpless, self-centered. The divine soul is other-centered and divine-centered. So when you have two divine souls with a similar intention and aligned attention, focusing on one animal soul, it's a superpower. And that's a Kabbalistic reason why having someone else support you is massive. It's a quantum shift. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
That's so true. That's so true, Shifra. Most of my most profound inner healings that I've done with myself have been with a witnessing friend who would accompany me in that process, and it makes all the difference in the world. Just to have somebody listen to you as you heal with God is so profound. And somebody wrote in. I haven't been following the chat, but somebody wrote in, and I got a glimpse of it about forgiving yourself. And that's really important, to forgive ourselves. Not just to forgive others, which happens through this process. It does happen because our perspective changes completely. It changes on how we see ourselves. It changes how we see each other. It changes how we see even the people who hurt us most. It's profound work. And as you see, it takes just moments. Just remember resource, and then go into your body with love and feel the parts of you that need some tender, loving care. Give them that attention as you breathe with them. And if we want to take it up an infinite notch, then we add divine love and intention. Divine, tender, loving care. You ready? You ready? Let's go. Just find a place in you that you know needs some extra tender, loving care. Find out where it is inside your body and just be with that place just the way it is. We're not pushing, we're not pulling. We're just being with it like a good friend. And now allow your creator to join you in this process. Always been there, always will be, but now you are aware that your creator is with you, witnessing you, breathing with you, hugging you, holding you, cherishing you, just the way you are. And how does that feel in that tender place? Notice what happens there as you breathe. That place may need to cry a little bit. Just let whatever's happening occur. What is God, your creator, the divine, saying to you? What do you need to know? allow that message to inform all of you. And notice what happens. The message of love. You may be excited. You may need to tap a little bit because this is a very intense encounter. Even good intensity takes getting used to. And notice what happens. You can do this as much as you need, even throughout our meeting. It's good to hug yourself. Any questions?
Everybody's free to ask questions in the chat. I have a question or something I want you to talk about. That was amazing, by the way. It was so different. My experience, was so different from the first to the second time you took us inside. And my question is going to be around that. When the second time you brought in an awareness of God's love. And it was like, whoa, that I don't even have words personally. So I want to ask you about this whole idea of bringing God in and what it means that I know you always say God is always here, which is true, but we still experience God not being there or experiencing God being there. And a lot of it has to do with our own invitation and intention and focus, right? So what is this, the core, once you talk to me about this core veil of shame that came down upon the world with the eating from the tree of knowledge, and how we are opening that shame by bringing God in. Can you speak to that? And this whole thing in general, what this bringing God is, bringing God in is in your frame.
Well, maybe I should explain a little bit about how I think about this.
Yeah.
I see it as not so much bringing God in as, well, as Kayla said the other day, making room for God. But
Okay.
it's a making room in our consciousness, because God is always here. If God were not here, we would not be here. Nothing would be here without God.
Word.
So God is always here, but it's making room in our consciousness for God, bringing our attention to God, and realizing that God always, always has us in his attention, and her attention. God is beyond definition of male or female, although there are male aspects and female aspects to our Creator. So being aware that God has us in mind, that's, I think, is what you're referring to. And regarding that shame, that's exactly what heals the shame. A shame response is a socialization response. it tells us you haven't done the right thing, and you may have done something that is hurtful to others, and you may have made a mistake that they need to correct. You need to course correct. But that shame cannot be sustained inside us without causing an illness or a dis-ease. So we need to address that. It cannot be chronic. How do we address chronic shame? A shame is a sense that we don't belong. That's how I would define it. And I think that when man chose diminishment as an experience, and we're still dealing with that, and it relates to the technological diminishment that some people want to wield against. They think it's for us, but it cannot. Well, you know what I mean. I don't understand this. I don't know how to say that in English. You know what I mean.
Whoever knows. Enough
Whoever
said.
knows. Yeah, enough said. So this diminishment of man, which was chosen by Adam and Eve in the beginning of time, was something that we are working through ever since. And it has a lot to do with not belonging, with a sense of not belonging. And when we come back to ourselves and to our Creator and realize that we have always, always belonged, no matter what mistakes we have made, that's the key to redemption. I'm not perfect. I need to apologize on a regular basis. And that's just part of being a human being. I make mistakes. You make mistakes. We all do. And tzaddik shelo yichta. There's not one tzaddik who doesn't make a mistake. Not even Moses, Moshe Rabbeinu, was free of mistakes. But we always, always belong. Your children, if you have children or grandchildren, or even sisters and brothers, parents, sometimes you need to take a break from them. Sometimes there has to be a healing in the relationship. And sometimes there has to be an apology in the relationship. But you never, ever, ever stop being part of that belonging, even from a distance. Even when you have to sever a relationship with someone who's abused you, if that is a close relationship, you never really stop caring about them. The only thing you're doing is you're caring about yourself too, which is very important in healing. To take care of you and not just everybody else. That's key. So knowing that no matter what mistakes we've made, no matter how much we've been diminished by inner or outside forces, we always belong.
That's really powerful. And what I remember from our conversation, which I have remembered for many, many years now, was by email, is that it's that shame and feeling of not belonging that makes us feel that God is not here and makes us feel unworthy and separate. And it's the core of the exile. So when we move and, like in my words, I know these aren't Haya's words, but invite God in, I guess, into our awareness, into our process, we are actually, that veil, we're bringing, again, it's all a metaphor. So bringing that level of God that relates to us in molecule inside the vessels, inside the snow globe, bringing that, making space in our heart, making space in our flow, making space in our body. So we've unwound that core cosmic effect of the eating from the tree of knowledge in that particular level, which is probably the core of why what you do really works so powerfully, that you just have to be with what is, with your own loving attention. And then I find I'm going back and forth in my mind, focusing on the first exercise and the second, first healing the second. And it's such a huge difference, to open up that level of love of God. It's huge. I'm looking forward to exploring it a lot more today, on my own. Anyway,
How would
yeah.
you describe that?
It just feels like full of light and love. That my first experience when I looked, I've done so much work over so many years, that, but
Oh yeah.
so there's always more, there's always so I went into a place that you said, look into, focus on a place that needs something, that maybe needs a hug, and it's kind of like on the left side of my abdomen, my left hip area, which just felt like sad. And I could connect it with certain events, sad about the exile, sad about suffering, not only my own, the whole thing. And I'm like, wow, in my mind, it was like, wow, this is still hanging out there by itself. It was a surprise, because it's so interesting where we can travel in our consciousness, because you can also feel full of light and totally in the flow and joy. And then when you go look somewhere, you see there's a part of you that's not there. And I
Right,
guess
right?
I guess that's the point, right? I guess now I did another aha. Thank you. Yeah. So when you go, we're looking, I guess that's what you're doing. Yes. Where you're guiding us to look for the parts of ourselves that are not there. And then, but they're still caught. They are there. They're just not there in our consciousness. So they're blocking that flow that creates the total, perfect, miraculous healing. Okay. Now I get that.
Exactly.
Now I get it. Okay. Now I get it. So anyway, that was my experience, and I was there, but I felt like I wanted to change it. And I couldn't really change it on the spot, at least. And that's when I realized, oh, you're not asking us to change it. You're just asking us to be there. But then when you took us in the second healing, and brought in God, immediately there was light, there was love surrounding it, flowing in it. And I was able to ask questions and hear answers. I'm like, this is already here. It's just done, or it's done. There's nothing to do. Just let me do it. Like, this is very, very different. It's just amazing to me that we can always go back to a subject we thought we understood, and just find that there's so much more, as it also says in Hasidus. We're constantly moving from finite to a new level of, into infinity, and then back into a new level of finite that's bigger, and then back into, it's the knowing and the not knowing that brings us that duality, that polarity, that dialectic. It's amazing and so powerful.
And you're so inspiring to me just listening to your account. Keep going.
Well, no, you keep going. Well, you know what? I don't know.
Well, actually, I do have something to say about
yes.
that.
Okay, good.
Regarding that, regarding the polarity, I want you to know it's normal to go from that elated place, that resourced place, that divinely resourced place,
happy place,
to the other extreme very quickly. That's part of the polarity that we're working with. And that's normal. It'll happen every few minutes, reliably. So don't worry when it happens. It doesn't mean you didn't do the healing right. It means that's another level of you that needs a hug.
So all our fragmented pieces, when we get triggered or when we have a symptom, they're just saying, here I am, bring me back.
Exactly. They're saying, here we are. We're here. We need some love. We need enveloping. We need belonging. We need to come home. We need to come home to your heart. We need to come home to your heart, to your heart. We need to come home consciously to the heart of God that's always within us. And
we're redeeming the Shekhinah. That's the Shekhinah is with us in Gullus and cannot be reconnected to its whole self. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He. Unless we return, because the Shekhinah is within. The Shekhinah is the source of the souls, and the Shekhinah is trapped within each soul, on purpose, giving us that power to restore God to God by restoring ourselves to ourselves. These pieces, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always get revelations when I talk to Haya, but this was pretty amazing. A lot of big missing pieces. Just
you always get revelations, period. And so do all
especially
of us.
with you.
So do all of us. And that's also your birthright. And that takes me back to the topic of prophecy, Shifra. that this is what you're focusing on this during this wonderful summit, and so timely. Rabbi Cook, the first chief rabbi of the newly restored Jewish community in the land of Israel and before World War II, he taught that the difference between chokhmah, wisdom, is chokhmah translated wisdom?
Yeah.
Okay, divine. The difference between chokhmah,
intuition, the flow from the higher mind. Yeah.
Okay. He explained that one of the differences, there's probably more, because he has a whole track, he has like a lot written about prophecy. But one of them that sticks to my mind is how he describes the difference between the wisdom of chokhmah and the wisdom of prophecy. Prophecy is a level of wisdom that is involved in reality, influencing it and healing it. He didn't use those words. That's my paraphrase, my modern paraphrase of the 100-year ago.
Could you share the words? Do you have
What?
the words in front do you have the words in front of you to share?
I could try to find them. I don't know if I should take the time. It would take me a while to find them.
Okay, so maybe after the call, if you'd be willing.
Right. So prophecy is wisdom that transmutes. It's a wisdom that is involved in reality and it influences it. Now, do I understand what that means? I'm not sure. I'm not sure I do. But it's fascinating to me, and maybe to you too. So your birthright, as we've been learning now with Rabbi Trugman, with Rabbi Sutton, with all the other wonderful people that have been on Shifra's program, and I can't remember all their names, we're learning that the prophecy is also our future birthright. But we will come to have that kind of wisdom downloaded from within. I like to say from heaven, but then I correct myself because heaven is within. So uploaded from within, from our creator within.
Uploaded. Yes, the difference, the shift to prophecy, the Ruach HaKodesh that we were talking about with Rabbi Trugman and others. And by the way, the next call with Rabbi Wolf is the return of prophecy. So it's the difference between a download and an upload. So until now, our process has mostly been downloading what the higher souls and the Torah tell us. And now we're in a stage where through that downloading and integrating, the lights are going on inside and we can upload from within. And that's what he's talking about for sure, Rav Kook. That's the difference between Chachma, which is a download, and upload. As you just said, it's amazing.
Rav Kook doesn't talk about uploading, but that's how I understand him.
Obviously.
right.
No, but right. So it's the difference between the light from it's the same light, but it's compressed within us and hidden from us. It has been, so that we could nullify the wild ego and train the brain and bring new values into humanity, et cetera, elevate the sparks, which has to be done in a state of not full consciousness. Na'aseh, for those familiar, when the Jews accepted the Torah, they said, Na'aseh, we will do b'nishma, and then we will understand. This is the nishma. This is the new era, where now we are, through our connection to the downloading light, the Torah, the God, the light that's way bigger than us, we are able to activate piece by piece and level by level and leap by leap that the light of God that is hidden within us, and that's the upload. And that's the prophetic experience that's been addressed so far. Unbelievable.
And that is the lifting of the sparks, as Sharon is writing in.
It's the lifting of the hidden sparks, because the lifting of the sparks has been, there's a period of the long period that ended in 1992, I think, 1991 or 2. I don't remember the date that the Rebbe announced that it was finished. But the lifting of the sparks from this previous era of turmoil and exile that we really couldn't get out. The principle was that until all those sparks were elevated by this process in a less conscious way, by just submitting to God, downloading, reflecting, training, discipline, repressing those negative parts of us so that we could do the right thing and think the right thing. So that was a process, a divine process on purpose. It was always said that there was a certain number, there are certain Kabbalistically number of sparks that need to be, which means God hidden in the world. that the process was mostly through using physical things, through training ourselves to self-discipline, through doing acts of kindness, all that. It's not that that doesn't matter anymore. Now that, but that those number of sparks, the Rebbe said in 1992, Tafshin and Beis, the Rebbe said that that era, that finished.
The era of Itkafia,
yeah, he didn't say Itkafia particularly, but it goes along with it, that he said Bir Netzutzos.
Okay.
The
And now we're in
elevation
a
of
time
sparks
of,
that had to be elevated for the Messianic era to start, because we had to do it in exile. Cannot be done in Geula and redemption. So that was complete. And now it's an inside job. Now it's about waking up, as the Rebbe put it, Yichud Yichudim. There are many parallel ways to express this, not for today, but anyway, now we're in a new era where we are uploading, where we're bringing ourselves online, where we're creating healing miracles, where we're finding God inside. It doesn't mean that God's not outside, or that we don't have to validate our experience through what the Torah says we do. Otherwise, we're going to go off with the ego and do damage. But we're trusted enough, and the nature of nature has changed enough so that we can now, like you said, be curious, explore, see what we can co-create. That's why I call it co-creating, because it's not you creating, you're co-creating. There's God and you interacting together. That's all there is. And through that interaction, you're elevating your vessels, your perception, your thoughts, your behaviors, your knowledge base, your wisdom, and that creates new flow, not only in but out. And like the Rebbe put it, like it says in the Torah, when the Torah was given, prior to when the Torah was given, there was no connecting point between the spiritual and the physical worlds, except amongst the greatest holy people, tzaddikim like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, but once the Torah was given, there was a permission given, a change in divine law, and spiritual and physical started to be able to merge primarily through the Torah and the mitzvahs. And that ultimately, and very soon, now we're in the final stages of that. And the Rebbe said that that's where I read it. I'm sure there are many other sources, but that the apparent separation between physical and spiritual represents a very immature state of human consciousness that will be over. When that happens, that's why we're seeing that spirituality can generate, wealth, and wealth can create more spirituality, all that our inner hidden negative parts that used to derail us are now brought online to expand us and to create miracles. It's a shift in direction. So much to say about this, but not for now. But anyway, this is what talking to Haya does it doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. We once had a 9-hour conversation. That was 11 years ago, and it hasn't stopped since then.
Man, now we're in different time zones, but soon that will change.
Yeah.
Okay, so any questions from, let's talk about Haya's course, because this is really, truly, really, really exciting for me. And there's nobody here in this summit that has not been hand chosen. I have to think I have a limited number of hours in my schedule for this, and how many people can I fit in unreasonably already, which I know it's unreasonable. It's amazing that people come on to every call and stay. It's just, we have thousands listening to the replays and hundreds listening to the calls here and on YouTube. And just some people come to every call, which is, I'm committed to not. Yeah, it's mind-boggling. It's amazing, and it's humbling, and it's just miraculous in itself. But anyway, so the people I choose, first of all, God gives me the idea, but then I think, do they have a particular thing to make this whole picture something very special to communicate? And yes, they all do. And so but not all, everybody's offering ways that you can get to know more about them, at least, and many free things. And then a few of the speakers here are offering a paid experience that will enable you to take it way, way deeper. And I don't feel I've necessarily done justice to everybody's. So maybe after the live calls are over, I will be focusing on those individually more by email or whatever. But I do feel that I must focus on Haya's offer. And let me bring it up. And you can bring it up. There's a link. If you go to the page where you where you get the Zoom for this call, the schedule page, and click on Haya's picture, you're probably already there. Then you can see that there's an offer, there's a link to a free gift that she's offering, which is a meditation. You like the healing experience that we had here, so get that meditation and you will be able to have it for yourself. And I know you might not know this about Haya, but I know about Haya that she can't do anything halfway. So I'm pretty sure she spent hours thinking about this, if not many hours, and putting it together. And so her energy, intention, connection, wisdom, and vibration is in there. So that you can click on, and the link is right here on the page, her speaker page, www.hayabaker. Haya spelled not as usual, but spelled without a C, HAYA.com/gift. Check your spam folder always if you don't get emails that you're supposed to get. That's just a good thing to remember. And then I'd like you to click on the link below, special product from Haya Baker. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you guys. Haya asked me what she should charge, if she should put together this course, what she should charge for the course. And I just off the cuff told her, average thing that people charge on summits, which is usually something like $97 to $147. Can be a lot more, can be less, but it just came off the top of my head. When I went last night and saw what she was offering, I'm like, I made a mistake. And I told her, you can change the price. It's worth so much more, like many times more. And she didn't. So, okay. So that's,
I didn't want to. I didn't
okay.
want to.
All right. So for $97, which includes 25% off a healing session with her one-to-one, where she guides you through your specific thing. And these are powerful. I invest in these myself and think, I have access. I interviewed some of the premier innovators. I mean, in my last summit, some of them came back to do interviews with me. I know some of these people personally, so I have access, and I choose to work with Haya. So anyway, scroll through this, and basically, Haya, if you want to describe, there's some of her results that she mentioned here, some of the goals of the program, some of the things that happen, that she's not only taking you through an experience with many healings and the ability to ask questions one-to-one and to get a serious savings on a session with her, so that you can totally focus and hone in on yourself. You can hear how excited I am. You've been watching me every call. This is an offer that should not be missed, unless you don't relate to her, which I think that would be hard. But if you're relating to her work, would be a very big, you'd be missing out on a ridiculously no-brainer opportunity.
That's what I wanted it to be, because I want this to get around, and I don't want anybody to miss out on this information and these tools, these significant self-healing tools, these significant uplifting tools, the ones that can update your system, your soul body system, to a whole new level. I want you to be able to update yourself daily, like just like you do on your computer, but even to an infinite degree higher. I want you to be able to have those downloads and updates every single day, and do it yourself and not be dependent on me. That's why I wanted to make this as accessible to everyone as possible. And yes, it is an introductory level, but we can always build on that. I may want to have a longer term, how should I say, strengthening of these tools. Yeah, follow up, right. But I want everyone to be able to, the cutoff date to register, I don't even know. It's starting in October, but don't put it off. I'll tell you why. Because if you put it off, you might forget about it. And I'm not going to be sending you any reminders.
Well, first of all, go right now and sign up for Haya's for Gift. Everybody go right now and sign up for Haya's for Gift. Then you're going to be on Haya's mailing list, and you're going to hear what opportunity she has and when it's available, if you can't do it now. But I agree that when October does seem like a long way away, but it's not. Life goes by so fast. Events in the world are ramping up. By October, the world is likely to look quite different. You want to be already part of something. It has an energetic effect. Maybe if there are a lot of people who register, I'll bug Haya to create a call in between if it seems necessary. I'm your advocate, you guys. I want to meanwhile speak to, so go sign up for the free gift. And if you're moved and able to sign up for this program, if you want more of what we've already gotten, a lot more, and the ability, I assume, to ask questions.
Oh, yes. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so it would be, it's just do it. Just do it. Now I want to speak to people who for money, it's an obstacle. And I want to speak from two places now. And I think this is really important. By the way, my next full-on summit is probably going to be about spiritual wealth, unless I do something with healing in between a smaller one. But I want to speak to this. It's so important. The reason that one of the reasons why I am sitting in my chair now is because I saw opportunities in certain cases that were way beyond my means, and I jumped into them. One example is an energy healing class that I took that was about $1,500, about 15, 18, maybe 20 years ago. I could not afford it at all. I had to put it on a credit card, which I'm not telling people. I do not want to, I never want to push a person into a place of risk. But a lot of times we think something is risky, or a lot of times we hold ourselves. One of the things that we do to ourselves, this is independent from Haya. I'm speaking to you guys from my heart because this is really important. We have people here whose lives are in trouble. We have people, all of us have certain areas of our lives that are in trouble, that deserve better, that deserve healing, that deserve to be addressed. We all have lacks in one way or another. And we get into victim. Remember, I opened the summit with from victim to co-creator. I forgot the title, but to be able to get into the miracle zone, to get beyond these barriers. After the calls yesterday, literally, I sat and wrote a letter to God, like I do sometimes. That's one of the ways that I connect with myself, and go into prayer. And I wrote, no more victim. Because victim is, if I say, like I said to my husband this morning, I'm really tired, this is really intense. And then I'm like, no, I said, no victim. I'm choosing this. And we choose things, and then we put up barriers of resistance that we then think we're limited by. That is the snow globe. It's the snake energy. It's the grand illusion. The next thing I signed up for was a training to do telesummits, which I didn't even know what they were. That's what we're doing now. I signed up for that in 2009 when we were $80,000 in debt and my husband lost his job. Why? Just somehow, the trainer, Ellen Britt, she should be blessed. I don't know if she's here on any of these calls or not, but she just kept, I kept saying, I can't. And I couldn't. And she just kept opening more possibility. And then finally she said, okay, I hear that you can't. And I'm like, something in me said, no, I want to. And I just jumped in, and so that was also around a $1,500 investment that I did not have. And it paid off. I don't even know how many, hundreds of times. And I can't tell anybody that your $97 is going to pay you back. But listen, if you can get a shift in that limiting belief, is there something you could do to earn back $97? Or someone you could ask who cares about you. This is these things, and I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot or to say that there isn't such a thing as actual financial risk. You need to manage your risk, but I'm saying that much of what holds us back is nothing but an illusion designed by that self-perpetuating snake, simsum, the force counterforce. That's how God created the world, to keep your light down, and it's nothing but an illusion. In not that people aren't suffering. Believe me, I know what it feels like to feel in scarcity and to not know what's going to happen, and the fear, but that's what, like everything, it's designed to bring us to a deeper potential. What has this locked you out of in your life, thinking that this is for someone else, not for me? Oh, it's
Can
just
I add something?
people. Yeah, please.
If anyone, for anyone, and it could be any of you, because I've been in such places myself. I mean, we've all had, Shifra and I, we both know what it's like. If any of you cannot afford $97, please send me an email. My contact information is in my website, hayabaker.com. You can find me, hayabaker.com, Haya with an H. Look me up. My contact information is there. Write me an email. Just tell me you need a discount, and I want you to be part of this too.
Okay, that's unbelievable. And thank you, Haya. The total cost of the entire program is 7 weeks, right? 7 weeks?
Yes, 7
Uh,
weeks, meeting for 2 hours each time. And it'll be,
Ability to ask questions, the community that will be created, $97.
and support in the middle in between weekly
And support in
meetings.
the middle. So even
So,
though
and
Haya made this,
recordings, and
Haya made this,
recordings.
and recordings. Okay, so Haya making this.
Wednesdays at 12 noon Eastern time, October 26th through December 7th, 22. So I look forward to seeing you there. As
Yeah,
many of you as feel that you resonate with my work.
I'm not
Only
done.
if you resonate. Only if you resonate.
I am not done. Sorry.
Oh,
It's a
sorry.
coaching moment. No, don't be sorry. But when I perceive that the coaching moment is here, I'm going to do it.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Take it
Please,
or leave
sorry.
it. Haya made an
Let's-
offer that literally anyone can afford, because she said if you can't afford it, she's going to give it to you for less, or I don't even, she's going to make sure that you could be there. I'm challenging you not to take that offer unless it means that or food.
Exactly.
You have to
Exactly.
go
If it
without
means,
food because you don't sell yourself short. Find the $97 in a way that you wouldn't otherwise. Can you pay in September? Yeah, yes, I'm sure you can, because it starts in October, but don't. Go out and find the resource and book it today. This is not just about Haya's course. This is about you and your life. Do you have a friend or parent or brother or sister that you could ask? Is there something that you own that you could sell for that amount? I'm not telling anyone what to do in this specific incident. This is instance. This is a coaching moment that is really important. Where are you and your stories and the challenges that you're wed to holding you back from your potential? Because I'm here to tell you, Haya told you, Kaylee told you, Ani told you, everyone told you that your challenges personally and globally are here only to bring out your potential. It's a barrier that when you say, I'm busting through this barrier, new parts of you come online. And that's before you ever get to a program.
exactly.
And you have the choice. This is where your free choice comes in. You have the choice. I keep saying the theme of this is beyond nature, BN. It's a very small barrier to entry, $97. And again, if you really can't buy food, if you pay for that, then write Haya now and explain to her, and then make it a decision. But I'm asking you, I am inviting you not to let yourself off the hook. Burst through a barrier, go beyond your nature. Because I guarantee you that this thing, the way we do something is the way we do everything. This thing that we say to ourselves, whether it's me, I just can't, I'm going to keep sitting and working. I can't get up and go for a walk. There's, right now, even though I know that walking a lot more would illuminate my life a lot more, that natural resistance, break through it, because it is holding you back, not only in the area of money and not only in the area of saying yes to a new opportunity, but in the area of going beyond your nature versus staying stuck in the feeling of separateness, exile, less than, scarcity. We all have scarcity in some areas. Let's leave it behind.
Thanks, Shifra. Thanks for reminding us of that. Thank you very much. Any other questions, or Shifra Khan, is there anything else you want to ask or discuss or highlight?
No, I think we're good. If anybody else has one final burning question or question about the program, just go and make sure you sign up for Haya's mailing list, because then you won't get lost. Okay, then but I'm again just inviting you to, challenging you that if this is something you want, just go book it. Opportunities fade away in our mind. Why does that happen? Because the snake voice, the left side, that animal, comes, it's the default. So when an opening is created, if you don't step into that opening, very often it closes. Almost always it closes. And I've been asking myself the last week, particularly, what can I do to keep my opening, open and expanding? I already know this. So that to me, when I say my mission gets me up in the morning, my mission is mostly what I do with myself. My mission is mostly the work that I do to clear my channels and to clear out all of this stuff that's stuck to me, that is keeping me from shining with joy and aliveness and power and miracles every second of the day. I have that a lot, but I don't have it all the time, and not all parts of me have it. And why not? And
Well,
this is what I live and breathe. This is what gets me out of bed in the morning. This is what gets me up too late at night. This is it. So be a player, be N or don't. That's your choice. And that's all I have to say. If you don't have the money at this moment, get a Haya's free list for free, get her meditation, pray about it. And then if you do not pray to be shown a solution, if you're not shown a solution, because that will break you beyond your nature. And if you're not, write to Haya. She already made an offer that says nobody has to be left out of this. So that story, if you still have the story, the opportunities are for other people and the affluent, it's a lie. It's not true.
I'm not sure till when I said the last sign up. What do you think, Shifra? I mean, what's a reasonable?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that later.
Okay.
Like, if you want to, if you genuinely need to have a later sign up, and it's not just putting something off, and I want to hear from people. Here's what so I'm going to talk to Haya privately. I want to hear from people after, not today. I want to hear from you tomorrow after you have prayed and meditated and given some real thought to where could I find all or part of that. Then you can reach out to me with your actual situation and explain to me when you know that you'll have the money. And then I will work with Haya. I'll have Haya work with you to accommodate that.
Great.
But otherwise, I would close off registration. I would not leave registration open for a very long time because exactly what I said. Exactly.
Right. Because then people.
Then the opening closes. The opening,
this
is for you, you guys. This is for you. I talk to you the way I talk to myself. No different. No different.
I want you all to be part of this. As many of you who have the time, I want you to be part of this. And if you don't have the time, recordings will be sent out. So I just want as many people as possible to benefit. That's why I'm doing this. This is not a moneymaker for me. This is my purpose. So please join in. I don't want anybody to be left out. If you feel like you resonate with this kind of work and that you feel that you can benefit from doing it for yourself, that's what I want for you.
Amen. So there are a bunch of people registering, a bunch of people expressing a commitment to manifest the money. Just don't sell yourself short. When you take a leap in one thing, a new gateway opens up and your life has changed and it will never go back. And that is what I'm here to testify to. This I know in my very bones because this is my life experience. And with everything, you want to manifest your next level of health. Those stories are going to keep you're going to keep you trapped if you cannot allow for them to open. They'll keep you in those behaviors that will stop you from that will allow you to resist being with yourself in the ways that create miracles. The same with relationships, the stories that we have about how life is, how we are, how other things are, what's possible, how we're different from everyone else. That thing that Haya said, shame keeps us from belonging. That's what's keeping us from redemption. Our own and the world's. That's it.
Big hug, big hug.
Can we donate to help pay for others' registration? What an incredible offer. Yes, you absolutely can. But I still want that donation. So how would you do that? Haya, let me know how people can do that, or maybe we'll have to figure that out. You know what? If you want to donate for other people to register for Haya's program, send an email to webmaster@thegateofunity.com. He'll figure it out and get back to you. Send that right now so we can make that possible. And I'm going to ask that to be held in reserve till we give people a chance to manifest it, because that's where you're going to get the ultimate breakthrough.
That is so nice of the people who volunteered that idea. Thank you so much. That is so kind of you. That is so kind. Thank you for joining me in this.
And this is how we change the world. This is how we
change the world. Olam chesed yibaneh, as it says, a world of kindness will be rebuilt. And that's what we're doing. We start with kindness towards ourselves, and then inevitably our hearts open to everyone else. In a healthy way. In a healthy way.
Yeah. Yes. We want a world of people so self-actualized and so generous and kind and so learning from each other and growing together that nobody needs to ever be in scarcity again. That's part of the promise.
That's what we're working on.
That's
what we're working on.
Okay.
We want to help you to be able to resource through God. We want to help you resource through God within you. Resource yourself. And that's part of the process.
Yes, so we could go on with this, um and it's what Chaya loves, what I love, what we basically are here for, and you guys too. But we're gonna
I-
say thank you and farewell for now. And it's good to be disrupted. All learning starts with unsettling the mind. That's not
exactly. And it happens all day long. So you'll have plenty of opportunities to practice.
true. Okay, so thank you so much, Chaya. This was awesome, even awesomer. I know that's not a word than I expected. And so onward and upward. And everybody, thank you for your participation and for letting me call deeper out of you, and for helping to call deeper out of Haya and all the speakers, and for being there for each other, and primarily for yourself, which is what enables you to be there for each other. And the next speaker is Rabbi Ruben Wolf on the return of prophecy in our times. So another don't miss, and see you there.
Yeah,
Pretty
don't
soon.
miss one of these calls. Don't miss any of them. They're
Mwah.
precious. Thank you so much.
Love you. I love,
Shifra, you're
love
precious. All
everyone.
of you listeners, you're precious. You're precious to all of us. You're precious to God. You're precious to yourself. Never forget that. You belong. You are here to bring light. Start from within.